My good friend, what I'm saying, I say with love and with respect. Respect to Candace Owens, who has been the producer of one of the greatest rides ever in terms of this entire. This has been the Erika Kirk show, as far as I'm concerned. Not even a TPUSA tour or journey, but an Erika Kirk story. You see, I'm not claiming to speak on behalf of anybody, but I'm speaking on behalf of me. I can't follow any of the stories involving Lori and the prior marriages of the father and paw, whatever. I'm not mocking this. I'm not mocking this. I can't. For reasons I don't understand. I race to the YouTube machine, ready to hear the latest installment, episode 5, episode 4, episode whatever it is. And I am literally, I shouldn't say that. That's what kids say. It's kind of a superfluous. You don't have to say literally. I am, in fact, in awe of the investigatory skill of Candace and her team. I mean, it is without peer. It's without peer. But I don't care. I don't. I want to get back to the good stuff. I want to get back to talking just about Erika. And I could go back and I could watch each new iteration of everything she speaks, everything she does, everything she says, every emotion, every attempt to emote. I recently saw a picture of her, and I don't want to say it. I hope her mother does well. I'm not exactly sure what her mother has in terms of her malady, but everybody's mother is their mother, notwithstanding whatever past she may be a part of. But even there, I'm thinking, does her mother want her to post this picture of her? I'm sure she's a proud woman, but again, anyway, I wouldn't post it. That's me. If my mother was, no, I'm not gonna. I would take a personal moment if she's in the hospital with tape. No, I wouldn't do it. But that's me. So many people feel that this is a good thing. Maybe they feel that it conveys a message. Look, if she consents, it's none of my business. I just wouldn't do this. I've got a thing about exploiting sometimes your parent or the illness of something else. When your dog dies, when you're at the funeral of a loved one, if you do a selfie, or let's say your mother's in a hospital. I saw this one time. When you do a selfie with your mother in the hospital, and you can see her kind of a gnarled hand with tape and tubes, and you've got the look. Oh, dear God. I'm not saying Erika did this, but I'm very sensitive about that. Take all the photos of you that you want. Take all the pictures, but kids and also using something to springboard. Like, I don't understand why I have to hear, and this goes on all the time, how somebody was so great. First of all, why are you using a stupid social media platform to pay tribute and homage and celebration through some kind of a eulogium or a paean, some kind of a panegyric to people who are looking their worst? Or it always seems like you're just doing it to exploit your own sorrow, your own horror. Okay, that's me. I'm just a private person, and I just don't believe in that. But you know what? Maybe I'm not cut out for this business. That being said, I want to go back to the stories. I want to go back to the dissection of everything she said and how she said it. I was watching today I don't want to mention it because I don't particularly care for. Well, it's very very funny sometimes, but the subject matter I thought I don't know. But it's a YouTube platform of two women, I guess, and they certainly are not what you would consider conservative, whatever that means. But they even said, irrespective of what they thought about Candace, they said this Erika's a phony. Erika is the key to this. Erika is the only thing that people are going to care about. Everything else is important later on, maybe maybe to turn over to a DOJ or something, or some kind of a fraud prosecution. But I think I speak on behalf of a lot of people. The issue here, what I would go with, is everything involving Erika, because everybody who watches, just watch anything she's ever done. And it is so phony, so ersatz, so synthetic, so fugazi, so without anything even remotely resembling anything authentic. It is like nothing you've ever seen. Please, let's go back to that. That's when I had the most fun. I know I'm being very, very selfish in this. I'm sure all of this. I'm sure of this prosecutorial provenance is very important. And again, I commend people who've gone through this LLC and then this document and this change of date and this reference to a birth date of 88, and this is August, and then on this one, and he was married before to Franz Weiss' first wife, and then Dr. Jerry, and then this, and he became, and then they joined the circus, and the next thing you know, he became his life, and he was D.B. Cooper, and he shot J.R., and it's labyrinthine, it's wonderful, it's incredible. I mean, I'll bet you anything that Erika and her family are saying, I didn't know that. I'll bet you some of the people involved in this say, I didn't know that. Because it's so thorough. That, however, as you know, people have a very short attention span. Apparently me, and I admit. What makes the case for the audience as a whole is the comments regarding Erika. There is nothing like this woman. I have been around. I am telling you, I have seen stuff. I have been an assiduous, a most focused student of media and professional wrestling and schmaltz and grift and I've seen phonies you can't believe. I've seen con men and confidence men, people like, Tammy Faye Baker, who I think really was crying and might have been, overdoing it, but there was a certain degree of it. There are these phony kind of I refer to them almost as like a car show. Remember the old days of this woman? You go to a car show, like we go to the Javits Center. There's this woman standing there in a bikini, like, why do I need you to point to the Range Rover? I got it. It's a car show. It says Range Rover, but I'm gonna what? That kind of a Vanna White thing. I've always thought that was interesting. She's partly that. But and even as the show says, remember these two women who probably hate everything that Candace has ever said politically. When it comes to what she says, you know what? She's because anybody who thinks that Candace is spewing nonsense is crazy. She knows what she's talking about, and she's very, very funny. But without a doubt, irrespective of what they think about Candace, nobody likes Erika. That's the part that's funny. Nobody. And these phony balonies who say, would you please leave this widow alone? They're either being paid or they want to be paid, or maybe they're auditioning to be paid, but nobody can seriously, honestly say that they truly believe that. Nobody. Did I say nobody? Nobody can possibly think or say for whatever reason that you really believe this? Are you kidding me? You honestly, truly, seriously, literally, you're siding with this? Have you heard anything she's ever said? You see, the beautiful part about it, where do you start? See, this is what, Candace, we need more of this. When it starts like this. You see her the first time you ever saw Erika, whatever it was, whatever the first installment was, could be anything. but mostly after Charlie, of course, you can see her other stuff, and you look at it and say, oh, okay, well, this is a sizzle reel with some guy, the man that she never dated, though she did date, the person that she never dated while in New York, which she did, the person she never wanted to deal with, because you have to drink, and there she is drinking. I mean, that kind of comes later, but when you pick up with after the Erika thing, the Charlie dispatch, then you start to see first the reaction. And you think, oh my God, that's horrible. Then you say, slow down, watch it again. And the trailer shows some perfect bites of this. And then you say, ooh, what'd you notice here? I don't know. Because at first you don't know what it is. It's like, did I get, nah, well, maybe, you know what, we always say, maybe we caught her at a bad moment. I'm sure later on she'll become more legitimate, or she'll, whatever the particular phrase is. I'm sure later on she'll do this. Okay, fine. And then later on, as you see the second one, you go, ooh, what is it? She didn't do any better. You know what? I'm what I had suspected in that first kind of a drive-by double parked version of this. I'm thinking there may be something to it. She might actually not be very believable. Nah. And at first you think, nah, because I had no idea who she was. No, nobody told me. Now watch, she's a phony. I didn't know. Then you started to see the performance. I don't know if it was the tissue thing, the almost, and I give this example. Sometimes when actors, especially in Broadway, when you're doing 8 shows a week, you will set yourself up. You block the shot. You sit down. You do the same thing to get ready for whatever the set is. You move this. You sit this. You move the prop. You turn. You pull out your handkerchief. You cry after the first sentence. You dab. Put it back. And one of the things that you realize is that when people sometimes do free throws, they dribble so many times and they free. Erika actually goes through this almost the same way every single time. The dabs, the look up, the same thing, the same identical emotive sequencing. It's incredible, which means acting, which means performative, which means this is what I do to get into the role. And she doesn't realize you got to mix it up. You can't do the same thing. This is a tell. This is like when you're gambling, it's a tell. It's what you do. She never has any There's never any, she never blows her nose. When people cry, crying is I don't care what it is. I don't care if you cry a little bit. Nose and eyes and tear ducts and everything are all connected. And when you do this, you sneeze. I mean, not sneeze, and you never see that. And you don't really see, you never see, and it's just, and then you watch it again, and then you listen to it. And then there's this, when she speaks, she thinks that she's got to say that moment, and I say, stop. Remember the Barry Weiss thing? Stop. And what words do you have for Candace Owens? Stop. Just stop. Ooh. It's almost like that. That's my mean voice. What'd you think? Would you like? It's almost like this is my routine. It's like a comedian. I got my setup joke. I got my middle. This is my act. The things when she goes up and looks up and it's almost it's once you see it, then you can't unsee it, and then nothing can ever pierce the veil of incredulity again. You can't believe it. And it's worse and worse. And the time she went on that soap opera, not soap opera, that might as well, that cable news thing. I mean, every show, this, that you've got. And then you thought, wow, oh my God, I see, I understand. I say, yes, I got it. It's like when you really realize that that friend of yours is lying to you, or that person that you thought it was going to help you is lying, and the mendacity, and you realize it, I got it. But then somebody says, no, wait, like they say on QVC, but there's more. There's what? Oh, yeah. We're going to show you the next one. The next one's going to be her, Erika, during this Zoom call. That one just blew me away. By the way, I forgot to tell you, later on you go back and see, now look at the picture of her, lying over the casket with Charlie. Disgusting. You wouldn't have noticed that at first had you not seen the disassembly of the performative, of the schmaltz, of this kabuki dance that she was in. Okay, fine. Then you see, and this is, please, Candace, this is the kind of stuff we want. Get the new stuff. I'm just saying. I'm just a fan. When she is doing the Zoom call, and she's giddy beyond giddy because of the merch, because of the hats, because of the sales. You can't believe what you're seeing. You can't. You can't believe it. It's just, how many days? 6 days, maybe. Come on, team. He's dead. Get over it. That's the way it goes. Now, I'm not suggesting anything of her involvement. If there's evidence, I haven't seen it. If there is anything involved, I'm not suggesting complicity. I'm not saying she's nothing. I'm none of it. Because, well, we'll get to that in a moment. What I am saying is that her ability to act appropriately, to work within the confines of the act or whatever, is just unbelievable. You can't believe how somebody would say, Erika, you can't do this. You can't do this giddy merch, go team, rah-rah, Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, coffees for closers kind of a thing. I don't know what you can't do this. Did you watch yourself? Do you know this? Do you know what phony looks like? They're laughing at you. And she has such, I don't know if it's narcissism or whatever, but she has such an ego where she says almost like, I don't give a damn what you say. I don't give a damn what you say, what you think, anything. You don't understand. I'm Erika Kirk. They love me. I'm beautiful. I'm talented, and I am the face of the CEO of TPUSA. And if you don't, if you haven't figured that out, you're going to find out real quick. I don't want to hear this nonsense. I don't want to hear this. Oh my God! Wow! 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 And then later on, it gets even better. Then. And this is something else, which is really kind of funny. This is a separate way of looking at this. There's a lot. I shouldn't say this, but I will, because as we say this out, bless their heart. There's some folks who are really saying, "Hey, I need some new material here," so I don't want to ruin, my audience, and so I'm gonna work on anything to try to keep this thing going. And one of them is that there were a series of people, either assassins, co-conspirators in the crowd that day, and one who might have even used a short one of these palm guns. Is like, okay, look, take it easy, stop this. You have to stop. Now we're losing our mind, okay? I mean, we're losing our mind. We're getting too, and now we're getting into, And was she on the plane to Fort Huachuca? Okay, look, maybe it's me. It's me. I'll tell you right now. Maybe I just don't understand it. I think about what's your best material. The best material is none of that. People are not sort of, how do I say this? The theories that have been advanced regarding whether there were people involved at the assassination is different. Look, I want to just bring something up to speed, and let me just say something here. I think it's safe to say that all of us can say that none of us believe that Tyler Robinson one day woke up and said, you know what, I really don't like what this guy is saying about trans. And Charlie was the most gentlemanly and kind of all the trans stuff that's out there. He could not have been how Charlie roused and propelled this man or whatever he was into anger. I'm not buying it. The whole story. Yeah, he drives forever to this UVU. No. And I don't want to go through the facts, but the factual scenario. No. Now, number two, if you're going to be a part of something, if I'm going to be a part of some assassination team, okay, gotta be. You gotta watch out. They're listening. I am not going to be anywhere near that stage. I'm not going to be going like this, like some third base coach, signaling. Why am I signaling anything? Why? Take your shot when you can. Let's go. Let's get out of here. There's no time. I want you to punctuate the shot after he says the word. Boom. It's better effect. No. The shooter is going to wait and find that right moment, and with the breathing and everything, and align with the sights and all that stuff. So all this signaling, I don't know what that's about. There might have been coordinated clothing. There might have somebody who might be all these spooks and co-defendants who were just standing there watching this. They don't need to be there. You don't want that many people. You want plausible deniability. You want to be able to say, listen, I'll take care of it. You just, by the way, you might not want to get, the only thing I'm going to say is, you might not want to stand next to him at around, that's it. All this talk about this, it doesn't make any sense. And if they did do that, they're crazy. Because one little movement of if you're shooting one tiny variation, this much will end up 10 feet. And you could have taken anybody out on that area. And I sure as hell am not going to be risking my life standing there behind him if I don't have to, giving signals and doing it. Just doesn't make any sense. And finally, remember, there's 4 questions. The first question is the actual crime itself. The next one is who did it exactly? Was it Tyler by himself? Tyler not at all? Some other conspiracy, some other group, some other confederation? Number 3, why? The why part we can argue. We can argue about why. And then the fourth part is all Erika. Erika. That is where you point. This is where you focus. Everything else, you'll go down, not rabbit holes, but you'll go down this area, and then you have a lot of people who don't really know. That's not the good part. And mind you, unless I get a report back from the medical examiner, whoever actually looked at the body, who prepared the body with pictures and that, we can talk all day long about we shot one and the 30-06 does this, and you got to have a 2-man team, and talk all day long. It's just theoretical. But I want you to understand something. As big as he was, as critical as he was, and as influential as he was, nothing that is going on in the Middle East, or not going on in the Middle East, or that was about to go on in the Middle East, was in any way impaired, delayed, or suspended, or whatever, by virtue of what Charlie said. Now, granted, there's a lot of people who would say, I really wish you would reconsider this. I'm sure there's some Trump folks, there's some other allies regarding the whole operation in Iran or whatever it is, and I'm sure they would prefer, say, Charlie, we really don't need this. Charlie, we wish you'd change your mind. But if you think, or anybody thinks, that his thumbs down or his disinclination to proceed with this way of thinking was first and foremost, and they're going to risk, think about this, they're going to risk, involve themselves in an event of this sort in front of everybody, kind of like they did with Epstein, but that was a different Megillah. That's nuts. You can remove him so easily without anybody watching. You don't want to expose yourself. If you want to eliminate somebody, you want to eliminate them. Now, sometimes you want to do things in public. You want it to be a spectacle. You want it. I don't know why that is necessarily so here. Sometimes when people are either removed in public, liquidated, or their bodies are left, like Arnold Schuster in the 50s, with the whole Willie Sutton thing, look it up, but they wanted to leave him in the open, in the street, to let people know this is what happened. This is what happens. That sort of thing. But there's no need for it. And again, as big as he was, you've got the world. The world is against this operation, at least in some circles. Not everybody in the world. Let me rephrase it. Not everybody in the world is against it, against President Trump or whatever the Middle Eastern policy is. But there's a lot from the UN to this to scores, passels, bevies, dozens and dozens of, you name it. Everybody from MTG to this and that to Megyn Kelly to even Piers Morgan, who doesn't know where the hell he is. Even everybody is there. So the idea that Charlie Kirk's disapproval of this military activity was so great that he had to be removed. No. It's true, they would prefer it not to happen, but so great that they would risk, because every time you do this, you risk getting caught, somebody spilling their guts, somebody. Why complicate anything? You don't need to do it. Who would therefore be the bigger suspect or the more likely suspect? Let me put it to you this way. TPUSA, I believe, was on the verge of going really big. I mean big. They were going to go, perhaps, and they said real estate. Let me just throw some things at you. Let's say that they were going to go into building homes, writing mortgages, having communities, going into a university, having almost a religion, to use university federal-backed student loan. Oh, my God. The best would have been to have I don't think they would have done it, but to have their own religion. Something like Scientology or something where you could you pay no taxes, and oh my God, it would have been. But not only that, to have all of these divisions, everything that would have been, and really not necessarily dependent all upon Charlie. And he was doing some things which caused a problem. First, Charlie, in his protestations against Middle East policy, people always imagined that what that did is that would incur the wrath of various foreign countries, including the president. No, it might have incurred the wrath of somebody internal to TPUSA, because Charlie's going to blow it. Why are you doing that? Charlie was talking about a kind of a Doge-like, whether he went through it or not, a Doge-like review of finances and the like. Who would that affect? People in TPUSA. If Charlie didn't like the way this thing was getting too financial, too commercial, and too big for its britches, that could have really screwed things up. And who would be the beneficiary of that horrible move? Cui bono, cui prodest in reverse? TPUSA. If Charlie decided, I think I'm going to shut this thing down. I don't like what you're doing. I don't like what's going on. This is not what I had in mind. This is not no. I'm losing control. I'm gonna put an end to this. I'm gonna fix this. TPUSA. So believe it or not, and I'm not saying they did anything. How do I know? But if I had to pick, if I had limited resources, and I said, now where would I go first? Where would I investigate? I would start with the folks at, and I don't know any names in particular, but TPUSA. Maybe somebody involved, somebody in there, or somebody trying to do, somebody who was an external, kind of a third-party beneficiary, sort of, to speak of that. Those are the people. These other ones don't make any sense. Why would you go through that? And I would have had nobody, even remotely associated with TPUSA standing there. It would have been, and certainly would not have been there in the open, but whatever. I want it so clean that if they basically shut down the entire arena, but the stage and everybody around it, everybody with their maroon shirts or brown shirts or whatever it is, and they talk to them, I want them all to have plausible deniability and have them say, I know nothing about this. And have them do this in such a way that they're believable. Because some of these people don't look like they're kind of young, and they get scared, and they will start talking and yammering, and why you would want to even have somebody like that involved in something as important as a hit, I have no idea. And why would you want TP? No. So I had to say that. Again, not to suggest they did anything, not to suggest, but they might have known something or known somebody who knew something. They might have been aware of something that was happening even internally. One of the things that I would do is I would make sure that I would never if I was involved in it, I would never let anybody in the organization know what I was planning to do. Never. I don't want them getting me caught, getting me involved. So anyway, just stop. I've gone on far enough, long enough. Candace, if you're listening, thank you. Thank you for letting me be myself again. I think Sylvester Stewart said it best. No, but thank you for giving us the ride of a lifetime. Thank you for letting me meet some of the greatest people that I have met through this. You have allowed me to meet people through this and live streams I never would have met before. And we have a commonality of interest. And they have apparently believed in what I'm saying because I think I'm pretty straightforward. I have a background as a former prosecutor. I've got a certain perspective. And I've been doing this for so long, ever since, look, this is the 25th anniversary of 9/11. Let me think about that. I've been through this before. I've been through other things as well. So I'm able to kind of sift through the new cases, MK Ultra. Yeah, I know we've been through that. So what I'm saying is I appreciate that. And were it not for, it's sad to say were it not for this terrible event, but were it not for Candace, we wouldn't be here. So I thank her for that. And without Erika putting on the worst performance of anybody even imaginable, she has been absolutely pure gold in terms of this never-ending show that does not stop. So thank you, my friends. Thank you. We'll talk again. Please, you know what I'm saying. Liking this video is critical. I know you know that. It's not just an expression. We want you to like this. Number two, we want you to do everything in your power to, please, I ask you, to subscribe, and hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. Okay? You got that? All right, my friends. Now, I've got some questions for you that I'll put up regarding this. But in the meantime, I ask you right now, as I always do, for you to comment. as you see fit.